Now at 5, it is day 3 as election week continues. The latest on where key states stand right now and where the counting continues.
And we received another election update, but we still do not know who is taking Nevada. I'm Joe Mueller. Live report is straight ahead.
The Trump campaign alleging widespread voter fraud without providing any evidence. I'm David Charnes. Tonight, new at 5 o'clock. The I-Team taking a look at how elections are secure.
And one more day of record temperatures before a dramatic cool down. We'll show you what's headed our way, all coming out.
Good evening. The race for the White House is banking on just a handful of states where the ballot counting continues. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Brian Loftus. Nevada, one of those states that now plays a major role on who will win the presidential election.
All right, so let's take a look right now at where Nevada stands with what has been counted so far. Joe Biden is leading now by just a little, about 11,000 votes. But of course, thousands of votes are still being counted. The vote count between Joe Biden and President Trump in several uncalled states continues to narrow. It really all comes down to the numbers at this point, and we're going to have a more in-depth look at those numbers coming up a little bit later in this newscast.
We do have more election coverage in a moment, as Denise mentioned, but first, a neighborhood evacuated as police investigate an armed suspect barricaded in a home near Decatur and Cheyenne. That's where we find Sasha Loftus. And Sasha, what exactly can you tell us?
Right now, Brian, there are a few details available at this moment, but police are still trying to coax this suspect out of his home. We've heard several flashbangs and a negotiator speaking directly to the man inside, who police say is armed. Now, police tell us he has shot the gun. At this point, no one is hurt. He is reportedly refusing again to come out of that home. Now, police sources on scene tell 8 News Now that this is not a hostage situation. This suspect is inside the home by himself, but again, we have heard negotiators speaking to him since we got here, trying to get him to come out. It doesn't look like they have been successful at this point. This has been going on for a while, and neighbors say they worry that it could continue for a while longer. As you said, a few of them are evacuated out of their homes, and this is just really a quiet neighborhood, so the neighbors that aren't evacuated are really standing by and just out of their homes, seeing what is going to happen with this situation. But again, no one hurt, no officers hurt, no civilians hurt. And that suspect is inside a home by himself. He is armed, though, according to police. We will, of course, stay out here at a safe distance and bring you the latest information as it develops, both on air and online. But for now, reporting live in North Las Vegas, Sasha Loftus, 8 News Now.
All right, Sasha, near Alexander and Decatur. Thank you, Sasha. Well, the eyes of the nation, so much focus watching our state of Nevada with its 6 very important electoral votes.
Yeah, Clark County certainly feeling the pressure now to get the job done. A lot of critics are wondering what's taking so long. So now they're having a daily briefing every morning at 10 a.m. to give us an update on their progress. Joe Mueller is live at Voter Central in North Las Vegas tonight with an update for us. Joe?
Well, definitely all eyes are on Nevada, but this race is still too close to call today. Here at the election center behind us, 51,000 votes were set to be counted. Now, we won't find out the results of those until tomorrow morning in a press conference like Kirsten was just mentioning. According to the Secretary of State, 190,000 remain to be counted in Nevada, and 90% of those are in Clark County. There is only a 12,000 vote difference, so it is a tight race. Mail ballots continue to come in as well. Today, the Registrar of Voters for Clark County said he doesn't expect to get the bulk of mail ballots until this weekend.
We're not concerned with breeding as fast as we can. We are concerned with making sure that we're accurate in what we report, because this is a very important election in the state of Nevada. It may make the decision for the president.
A handful of voters who need to have their ID verified have been contacted and have to do so by tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mail ballots will continue to be counted through November 12th. They simply had to be postmarked by the 3rd to count. It is possible we won't know if the stage will go blue or red for a few days. Now, outside of the press conference that was happening here at the election center earlier today, there were demonstrators a little upset about not being able to get in for this press conference, but these demonstrators have been lingering through the night. There's still a handful, maybe a dozen or so, still out here, but a protest is planned outside the election center in an hour. Reporting live in North Las Vegas, Joe Mueller, 8 News Now.
It is unacceptable in this country to have illegal votes counted, and that is what's happening in the state of Nevada.
Strong accusations from the Trump campaign as they plan to file a federal lawsuit against the state and Clark County. Republicans claim the county is counting thousands of illegal ballots, but did not present evidence of widespread voter fraud. Sources telling our 8 News Now I-Team there is no evidence of widespread fraud.
The I-Team's David Charnes joining us now with more about this latest lawsuit. David?
So at 5 o'clock now, this lawsuit has yet to be filed, now 8 hours after that 9 a.m. news conference. Let's break it down here for you. The Trump campaign and state Republicans allege 10,000 people who voted here in Nevada no longer live here. They also say there are votes that are using dead people's names. And again, an allegation here, they say there are voters who moved here inside that 30-day residency requirement window, making them ineligible to vote. However, the campaign provided not one piece of evidence about any of these claims.
They continue to count illegal votes. That is unacceptable. And it's giving legal people a sense that the system is corrupt.
Now, there were two people who spoke at this news conference this morning. One was a man who said he was from a conservative media outlet, and he said he couldn't record the count on election night, and he was told to leave when everything closed down in the middle of the morning. We tried to track him down today, but could not find him. The second person who spoke was Jill Stokey. Now, you may remember her. We broke her story back on Monday. She's legally blind, and she showed us the device she uses to help her see. She says when she went to go vote in person, she was told her mail-in ballot had been sent and the signatures matched. But Stokey is adamant that she did not vote, as you heard her just say there, and believes the ballot was stolen. Now, in today's news conference, Stokey mentioned us here at Channel 8, saying that I had told her we had received emails and calls about voting inconsistencies. I told Stokey when I interviewed her, and the I-Team has now repeatedly reported voter fraud is extremely rare. And our sources are telling us there is no widespread coordinated effort of voter fraud here. The I-Team has reported over and over there is no fraud in Nevada. We've looked at the signature verification process, and we've told you how those have to match as well. There's a machine that does that. That's part of the reason why this is taking so much time. We also told you out of more than 7 million votes that have been now cast in Nevada elections since 2008, just 2 votes out of more than 7 million are known to have been cast illegally, and that was by the same person in 2008 and 2010. However, remember, this is the first election now where counties sent mail-in ballots to everybody, even if they didn't want one. That's 1.8 million registered voters. More next at 6 o'clock. I'm David Charnes, 8 News Now.
David, thanks for that. Meantime, Democratic Party Chair William McCurdy releasing a statement responding to that lawsuit, saying, quote, as the voices of Nevadans are finally heard, Trump and the Nevada GOP have no other recourse than scare tactics and baseless suits, end quote. So today, Nevada's Democratic Attorney General, we're talking about Aaron Ford, weighed in on how the election has been handled so far and also addressed concerns from voters.
Kate Houston is on this story. She joins us now in our 8 News Now newsroom with what he had to say.
Yes, Attorney General Ford spoke directly to voters during a Facebook Live interview with Battleborn Progress, and he tried to reassure Nevadans that all of their votes will be counted. Now, throughout the interview, Ford touched on several different topics. One issue brought up was the time it's taking to deliver election results. Ford reminded voters that many Nevadans took advantage of the vote-by-mail process. There are also many safeguards in place to prevent fraud from happening, which means it could take longer to receive results. Overall, Ford says all evidence shows that Nevada has conducted a safe, fair, and secure election.
I will leave the hysteria and the hyperbole to those who are attempting to undermine this process because, that's not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to do is to defend the process, one that is legal, lawful, safe, and secure, and that's going to guarantee that every lawful vote that has been cast is going to be counted.
Attorney General Aaron Ford went on to say that politicians will not decide who wins this election. It's the American voters who will decide. He wants the will of the people in Nevada to speak for itself. Now, this conversation also touched on some topics such as the vote counting process and how signatures are validated. Reporting from the newsroom tonight, Kate Houston, back to you.
All right, Kate, thank you. So another warm, sunny day for November.
Yes.
In fact, so warm. Apparently, we broke another record high, but we do have some big changes, right, coming for the weekend, Ted?
Yeah, can you believe that? 86 degrees.
Wow,
it's
for
November, right?
I know.
November. 84 was the previous record on this date set back in 1980. We broke that today. 72 is where we should be, but otherwise, 86, still not too bad. At least we're not in the 90s to 100s, right? Fire weather warnings, though, begin tomorrow at 10 a.m. This is a red flag warning, and look at all the areas here that it encompasses. The reason for that, though, is the elevated fire danger due to the low humidity and the strong winds we're anticipating for tomorrow. Speaking of winds, there's also a wind advisory. It begins at 10 a.m. tomorrow through Saturday morning at 4 a.m. for these areas here in blue. There's also a lake wind advisory, so not a good day tomorrow for any boating for sure. Here's how it looks. We're looking ahead for the weather headlines that we're going to talk about, all right? Windy Friday through Sunday. A huge temperature drop by Saturday, and then that record dry streak. Could it actually end this weekend? And next week is going to feel a lot like winter. A lot to talk about. I'm going to break this all down for you and give the timing of everything, all coming up in your most accurate forecast.
All right, let's get up to date on the coronavirus numbers. Nevada reports its fourth highest single-day numbers with more than 1,200 new cases and 10 deaths in the daily report. The high numbers are similar to the large cases reported back in July. The positivity rate is 11.7%. Hospitalizations up by 44 today. Now, Clark County remains in the red on the county criteria tracker with 769 new cases and 6 deaths reported. The recovery rate has gone down slightly since last week, still pretty high at 89.3%. Denise?
All right, and it's still ahead tonight here at 5 o'clock. The fight for the White House is down to just a few states. RI Team's David Sharns breaking down the numbers just ahead. Plus, we're also going to check in on how Wynn Resorts is recovering from the pandemic. Their Q3 earnings for you when the Valley's news leader returns.
This portion of
Vegas. And welcome back. America waiting for official results as counting does continue in multiple pivotal battleground states.
And of course, Nevada, one of those states. And the longer the counting takes, the more frustrated the president is getting. In a news conference just a little bit more than an hour ago, he claimed the late ballots are illegal and the election could be stolen. Our I-Team's David Charnes joining us now with a breakdown of those very vital electoral map and those votes.
Right. So at 4 o'clock, I called them electoral points, but they are electoral votes. And keep in mind, the reason that these are coming in right now is these are those mail-in votes. We haven't voted mail-in at this scale, 100 million or so mail-in ballots ever. So that's why we're seeing this lag. Here in Nevada, you keep in mind, we're looking at those 6 electoral votes. Biden right now leading by 11,000, but in Georgia, 16 electoral votes. Either candidate wants to win that. President Trump leading right now by about 3,500 votes. We have blue in here for Arizona for Vice President Biden. That's 11 votes. The reason why it's there right now is this is really leading Biden right now. The Associated Press has already called this race. We have not, but it's going in the Biden direction. Right now, he's ahead by 62,000 votes. To keep in mind, that's more of a point spread than what he won in Wisconsin and Michigan right now. Want to show you, though, the path to victory for Vice President Biden and President Trump. If Vice President Biden picks up Arizona, which he will likely do tonight or tomorrow, and picks up Nevada, where he is leading, he wins this thing. Another thing is that if he wins Pennsylvania just flat out, which could be called tonight or tomorrow, he also wins. It's a bit more difficult right now for President Trump with those 214 electoral votes. He'd need to win Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina, and then our 6 electoral votes are sort of like icing on the cake for him. But again, this is where we stand. You see where we are, and you can see at 264 with Arizona in there for Biden, those 6 points for Nevada bring him to 270. That's why all eyes are on us right now.
Thank you, David, doing a fantastic job on our election coverage, isn't he? Great job, Charnsey. He needs a nickname. Can't just go with David. All right. Live look outside right now, 81 degrees, Henderson 77, 82 for North Las Vegas. Winds are remaining calm. Let's get to some other neighborhoods here to show you. 78 for Centennial Hills, 74 for Summerlin, 80 for Aliante, and the Lakes coming in 81. I got to tell you, it's really comfortable. I mean, it's not too bad. It's, of course, above average. We're hitting record territory, but at least not 99 or 100 degrees, right? 85 Green Valley, Rhodes Ranch, Mountains Edge in the low 80s. Prump at 77, Boulder City 78, 86 for Laughlin. So here's what we're watching. The much anticipated system that's going to change up our weather tomorrow is right here, and here's its front, already bringing some rainfall in the Pacific Northwest from Portland all the way to eastern Washington and Spokane. Shower chances increase with that system on Saturday, but then we think the better chances are going to be on Sunday, and that includes mountain snow too. So this weekend could be a wet weekend. We know we're confident we're going to get some wind, cooler temperatures, but shower chances are still on the light side as far as getting the rainfall here. So we'll keep our eye on that. Monday and Tuesday, it's out of here though. So here's your forecast overnight. 63 by morning. Thicker cloud cover still remains this evening with light west winds. Now tomorrow it will become windy, okay? Blowing dust probably a possibility tomorrow. 85 our high, so still warm. Still another record day. We'll probably tie that record set back in 1988. Look at your gusts up to 35, possibly up to 40 in some locations. Forecasted highs around the neighborhoods. Take a look. Mid 80s for tomorrow. Summerlin 82, 83 Centennial Hills, Mountains Edge 84. Outside the valley also warm tomorrow. Prump at 81, 83 for Boulder City. After that, the numbers tumble big time. By Saturday, a 25-degree temperature drop. Look at that, 61 on Saturday, even cooler on Sunday. Denise was thinking about hiking on Sunday. I'm not feeling it, Denise. Really not. Those showers. And the temperature is going to stay cool next week, too. That's your most accurate forecast here on 8 News Now.
Since I've got the next story, Ted, I'm saying you should do that hike. All right? Just go put a couple jackets on. Wynn Resorts released its third quarter earnings and outlooks for the remainder of the year. Kirsten Joyce listened in. She's got the results.
Brian, CEO Matt Maddox says the company is not going to sacrifice its brand or culture to make an extra few dollars. While they have significantly fewer staff, some 7,400 fewer now than pre-COVID, they're still operating at a 5-star level around the globe. Now, their goal here in Las Vegas for the interim is to make sure they continue to break even or make money. Some of the encouraging things they're seeing is a greater share of the casino segment. New domestic customers who were previously lifers at competing hotel casinos are now spending their money at the Wynn. They believe their safety protocols and all their restaurants being open have helped them take the market share on the casino side.
I believe we are gaining share on that front. In October in Las Vegas, we actually had our best month. We generated roughly $14 million of EBITDA in October. We had a little bit of hold luck in there, maybe $2 million. But overall, it was a very good month. Now, as everyone on the call knows, Las Vegas has seasonality, and we're coming into the slow time. So COVID cases are picking up in the U.S., obviously, and November, December are quite slow in Las Vegas and have been heavily reliant on group.
Wynn has also increased its online sports betting, acquiring a company out of the UK, and it has begun its U.S. rollout by signing market access deals in about 9 states so far in the U.S., with more on the way. Caesars also had its earnings call today. We'll have those details tonight at 6. Denise?
All right, well, still to come here on the Valley's News Leader, preparing for the annual Walk to End Alzheimer's.
You know, this year has been a tough one. It's even more important to let everybody know that we're cheering for them.
The changes for this year's walk and how you can take part online just ahead here at 5.
Enough said. Call Ed. You're watching 8 News Now, live at 5.
The annual Walk to End Alzheimer's is this Saturday, and like most fundraising events during the pandemic, the walk is going virtual this year. Even though plans have changed, the goal remaining the same, to raise money to eventually help see a world without Alzheimer's disease. Good Day Las Vegas meteorologist Sherry Swentz talked to team members this morning about the event.
So we do want to walk our neighborhoods, decorate our neighborhoods. I plan to adorn my front yard with flowers and the pennants, and just bring some awareness that we haven't gone away fighting for this disease.
You can register for the walk, which again is this Saturday. Fundraising will continue through the end of the year, so there is still time to help meet the goals and programs for all that important research.
And Brian, we do have some changes to programming tonight. A special edition of CBS News America Decides is going to air again from 7 to 8, keeping an eye on all the election results. Then Young Sheldon at 8, followed by Jeopardy. That'll air at 10, and Wheel of Fortune at 10:30. And as we do continue the evening of Election Day 3, there are a handful of states that still have not been called. So we're going to track those results as they start to trickle in again this evening. 8 News Now is your local election headquarters. We'll keep you updated on all the election results as they come in, both on air and online at 8newsnow.com.
And if you're ever looking for updates on Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, of course, Arizona, all over on 8newsnow.com, always being updated, and we'll keep you informed on air and online.
Thanks for joining us here at 5. We'll have CBS Evening News next, and we'll be back at 6.